New technology is being introduced to every aspect of our lives continually, including car detailing. In my classes, I teach how to use coatings, and I have 4 coatings that I'm going to teach you how to use here today. Now, 3 of these coatings use nano-glass ceramic particles, and the benefit to these is they form a functional bond to the surface they're applied to. They last longer, they create a self-cleaning surface, and of course, they make whatever you apply them to look better and look better longer. This other coating I have is for tires, and it uses an acrylic resin that bonds to the tire, remains flexible, and dries to the touch. So the benefit there is it turns your tires black, makes them look good longer, and there's no messy tire sling off onto the body panels of your cars. So let me teach you now how to use these 4 different coatings. Some people think it's the paint that's the most important part to detailing a car. Other people think it's the interior because that's where they spend most of their time. The reality is it's the windshield because you need to see through it to drive safely both in the day and at night. A glass coating is going to fill in all the microscopic pits and pores and create a more perfectly smooth surface. What this is going to do is it's going to make it harder for any kind of dirt, water spots, or road film stick to the glass and form a bond. A glass coating also creates a self-cleaning surface, so anytime it rains or you wash, water's naturally going to leave the surface. The glass coating also turns the surface hydrophobic. What that means is water-fearing. Water's going to actually want to escape or leave the glass. Now this will happen after you start driving over 30 miles an hour, or when your wipers go across the glass, it's just going to fly right off. The important thing about using a glass coating though is you need to start with clean glass. So if you have any kind of water spots or road film, you need to remove this first using a glass safe polish like I showed you previously. Next, what you want to do is just clean the glass, and you can do this with the glass cleaner like the McKee's 37 Crystal Vision. What this is going to do is just remove any loose dirt and dust, get it off the glass. That way you're starting with perfectly clean glass. The next thing you want to do is you want to prep the glass for the coating. Now to do this, we're going to use the Black Label Surface Cleansing Polish. This is a non-abrasive polish, and all it's going to do is it's going to make sure everything is off the glass so the coating can form a proper bond. And what you want to do is just take and apply some to the glass or to your pad and then work it in. Kind of like you were polishing paint. Work this in really good. And this will take any topical contaminant off the surface of the glass. Now, I washed this car yesterday and dried it, but sometimes your soaps can leave a little bit of a haze. So this will remove any soap residues or anything else on the surface that could interfere with the bonding of the coating to the glass. And this is important for proper bonding so you get the lifespan out of the coating. Okay, so I've worked that in really well. Come back and wipe that off. You don't need to let this dry. And as you're wiping this off, you can actually feel the glass become cleaner and more slippery. And that's a sign that the glass is completely residue and contaminant free. Next, we're going to apply the Black Label Diamond Glass Coating. Now this uses the nano ceramic glass particles that form a strong bond to the glass. They're going to fill in the microscopic pores and pits. I want to just miss a little bit there right onto my applicator pad and completely seal this glass. Then all you want to do is just take and work this in until basically you see it disappear. Work it all the way into the edges, just like that. And then you want to let it dry for about 1 minute and then come back and just give it a soft buff to wipe off any high spots. I'm wiping this real softly. And here's a tip. Sometimes get down at an angle and use the light and look at the surface, and then you'll be able to see if there's any excess residue or high spots on the glass so you can wipe them off. And that's all there is to coating glass. This glass is perfectly coated, ready to put back into service. When it comes to sealing and protecting your car's paint, there are three categories of products to choose from. There are car waxes. Typically these use carnauba, and you can get up to about 3 months of protection. There are synthetic paint sealants, and you can get about 6 months of protection out of one of these products. And then there's paint coatings. And because of the functional bond that they make to the paint, you can get up to a year or longer of protection out of a paint coating. Now, in order to use a paint coating, you first need to remove any swirls and scratches, because the paint coating is not going to take these out. Once the swirls and scratches are gone, then you need to prepare the paint to accept the coating. To do this, you can apply it by hand or machine. Now, I'm going to use the Black Label Surface Cleansing Polish, and all I need to do is just apply some of this right onto the paint, and then apply and work this over the paint using a clean foam applicator pad. And what this is going to do is it's going to remove any surface impurities and anything that would hinder the coating from making that strong bond to the paint. And again, you can apply this with the DA polisher if you choose, or just like I'm showing you here, apply it by hand. And what this is going to do, besides removing any surface impurities, if you polish or compound the paint before you apply the coating, it's going to remove the polishing oils, because you need everything off that paint so the coating can make a proper bond. Okay, you don't need to let this dry, so after you apply it and work it in, just come down and use a clean microfiber towel to wipe it off. And get that paint completely clean, just like that. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is apply the coating. Now to do that, I'm going to use a coating applicator like you see here, and I'm going to use the Black Label Diamond Paint Coating. And the first thing I like to do is I like to mist a little bit onto the face of the pad, just like that. So it's kind of dampened with the actual coating itself. Then I'm just going to put a couple of spritzes of the coating onto the paint. And I'm going to rub this back and forth, side to side. And I'm going to use the overhead lights to look at this. And what I'm trying to do is just rub this until it completely disappears, as I'm rubbing this actually into the paint. This just glides on. It's a nice thin liquid. And that's how you apply the coating. Then you want to let that set up for about 1 minute, and then come back and wipe off any excess. And you want to do this real softly. And what you're trying to do is, again, use your overhead lights, and you're looking for what we call high spots. That's excess residue. And you want to remove those, because if you don't, it'll dry there and you'll see it later on, because this really dries hard onto the paint, and that's how it lasts so long. So after about a minute, use your lights overhead, get down at an angle, and then just come down and give it a real soft buff. And if you see any high spots, just wipe them off. And that's really all there is to applying a coating to your car's paint. It's going to create a self-cleaning surface that's going to clean itself in the rain or when you wash it. It's going to resist contamination buildup, and it's going to keep your paint looking beautiful longer than a wax or a synthetic paint sealant, and it's also going to give your paint what we call the glassy look. Instead of gloss, it's a much higher gloss, to the point where it's actually very glassy looking. And that's how you apply a paint coating. Your car isn't completely finished until you detail the wheels and tires. Now, everybody's used a tire dressing, and they know how greasy and slimy it can leave the tire, and how it slings off onto the body panels when you drive down the road, and how it doesn't last very long. So as soon as it rains or you wash your car, the dressing's gone, you got to reapply it. What I'm going to show you is a tire coating, and this is a really cool product. First, it starts with getting the tire completely clean. So you have to remove any previously applied dressing. You need a clean rubber surface in order for the tire coating to make a proper bond. The next thing you want to do is apply the tire coating. Now this is the McKee's 37 tire coating. It's an acrylic resin that forms a bond to the tire. It remains flexible, it dries to the touch, it won't wash off, and it restores and maintains that deep dark black look that we all love. I'm going to apply this with the tire brush, and this works really well because this has a lot of grooves and lettering and siping on the side. So just apply some right to the bristles of the tire brush like that. And then you just want to work it into the sidewall of the tire. Now it looks kind of like it has a blue haze to it, but that goes away when it dries. I've had this tire coating on my tire for over a year, and you can get up to a year of protection with the tire coating, but the key is to not come back and use a strong wheel cleaner that would take anything off. So work this in really well. Here's a little secret I like to share with everybody. You can let that dry by itself and then add a second or third coat to increase the shine, or what I like to do is take the Metrovac Sidekick blaster and blast it. Now this is not only going to dry it faster so I can put my next coats on quicker, but it's going to push the coating into all the cracks and crevices better than I could do with the brush, like this. And notice when I'm blasting the coating, I'm blasting it away from the rim, not onto the rim. If you get this onto the rim, you can use some glass cleaner to take it off, but it will create a film on the wheel that you'll have to scrape off if you don't get it off while it's still wet. It'll also get it on your hands if you let it dry on your hands. So let me go ahead and put a couple more coats on here, show you how this works. That's the first coat. You can just take the bristles of the brush and work that in really well. Back to the Sidekick, blast it dry. Here's the third coat. And as you can see, by applying more coats, I'm getting a deeper, darker shine. I'm also building up a thicker layer of that acrylic resin protection. So the Sidekick dramatically dries the coating faster, pushes it in all the cracks and crevices. It's an optional step, but it's a step I like to use. Now let me show you what's really cool about this product. This is called the white glove test. Now you know when you use a conventional dressing, if you touch the tire, you're going to get black all over your hands. Watch this. Nothing. It's completely dry to the touch, and that coating is going to last up to a year. It's a really cool product. I think if you use it one time, just like me, you're going to be hooked on it. Next, what I want to show you is wheel coatings. Now, your wheels need to be clean before you start putting the coating on. What the coating is going to do, just like the paint and the glass, because it uses nano-ceramic particles, it's going to make a strong bond on the surface of the wheel so it won't come off. And this is important because your wheels are exposed to a lot of heat every time you use the brakes. Plus they're low to the ground, so they get all the splatter when you're driving in the rain, which contains road grime and the brake dust coming off the wheels. So the first thing we want to do is we want to use the Black Label Surface Cleansing Polish. And what this is going to do is it's going to remove anything that's on the rims that could hinder the bonding of the coating. Just bring this down like this and apply it, work it in. This is going to remove any kind of film, oily film, anything you didn't get off when you washed the rims when you're washing the car. And again, this is vitally important because you need this surface to be absolutely clean in order for the coating to make a proper bond so that it'll last a long time. Okay, so after you work that in really good, and even though I washed these yesterday, you can see there's still a little bit of brown stuff coming off. So that's what the surface cleansing polish does. It gets everything off the rim. But you don't need to let this dry. So just come down and use a clean, soft microfiber towel. Wipe that residue off. Get it completely off there. And you can use this coating on chrome, polished rims, painted rims, pretty much any kind of rims it's going to work on as long as you get the surface clean to start with. Okay, just like that. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and use the Black Label Diamond Wheel Coating. Again, this uses nanoglass ceramic particles. And I'm going to take and mist some onto my applicator. This is a coating applicator, so it's moistened with the actual product I'm going to use. I'm going to put a little bit right onto the rim itself. Then come down, and you want to just work this until it basically disappears. The same way you did to the glass or to paint. Okay, then you want to let that dry for about a minute and then just come back with a clean, soft microfiber towel and using your light around you, look for any high spots, that's excess product, and then just softly wipe that off. And that's how you apply a coating to your rims. Modern cars have a lot of exterior plastic trim, and when exposed to the sun, wet weather, and over time, this trim will oxidize and black trim can actually completely turn white. Now, what I teach people to do is as soon as they buy a car, if it has any plastic trim like this, then right then and there, start treating it and it'll never go bad on you. If that point is already passed and you've got trim that looks like this, let me show you the fast, easy way to take care of it. Now, instead of a dressing, which will tend to wash off, what I'm going to use is a sealant. And the reason why is because it cures to the plastic and it won't wash off. This is the Wolfgang Exterior Trim Sealant. Shake it up a little bit before you use it. And I'm going to use a microfiber applicator pad because the microfiber gives me just a little form of gentle scrubbing action to get in here and kind of scrub that plastic. Apply some right to the applicator pad. And then come in and rub this in and work it really good. In fact, I'm rubbing pretty hard to get this started. And if you keep doing this over time to faded trim, you'll bring back the natural black and then you'll keep it that way. Now check out that before and after difference. And when this dries, it won't wash off when you wash the car, and it won't wash off when it rains. And that's something that's really nice about a sealant compared to a dressing. This also works good for a lot of cars that have those graphics that are matte finish, like the black matte finish on this Super Bee. Let me show you how it works on that to bring back that deep, dark black sheen that everybody loves. One of the styling trends with modern cars is the addition of graphics on the car itself. Now, sometimes these graphics have a glossy finish, and if they do, a little bit of wax on there will clean them, keep them looking glossy. But like this Super Bee, if they have a matte, flat graphic on it, just like this, it almost looks like primer. If you put wax on this, it's going to stain it white and it's going to be almost impossible to remove. So don't get any wax on a graphic like this. Instead, you can use the same product I showed you for the plastic trim. That's the Wolfgang Exterior Trim Sealant. So just take and apply some to a clean microfiber applicator pad, and then come down here and apply it to the graphic itself. And you want to work this in just like you're applying a face lotion to your skin. Work it in soft and gentle. You don't want to scratch the graphic. And what it's going to do is it's going to bring back that deep, dark black look that creates a lot of contrast to really separate the yellow paint from the graphic itself. There's also some plastic trim down here in the front, so at the same time I'll go ahead and get this. Make it look nice and dark and black and crisp. And during the process, if you get any on the paint, that's okay. Just wipe it off with a clean microfiber towel. And after you work it in, you want to come back and just softly wipe and remove any excess, just like that. And then what this is going to do is it's going to dry, it's going to cure to the surface so it won't run off, and it'll keep it looking dark and black. And that's how you want to take care of plastic trim and matte finish graphics like you see here on this ME Super Bee.